Back in 1968, researchers at the National Institute of Mental Health constructed a sprawling, mortality-inhibiting environment specifically for mice. Inside, the animals were provided with 256 climate-controlled apartments, unlimited supplies of food and water, and an environment entirely free from predators and disease. Biologist John B. Calhoun initiated the trial by introducing 8 carefully selected healthy mice into the enclosure. Ecologists evaluate environments based on their carrying capacity, the maximum population size that a specific habitat can sustain based on the physical resources available. This chart shows the initial population of 8 mice compared to the mathematical limit of the enclosure. Based on the volume of food and water provided, the space could easily support thousands of individuals. Unburdened by natural threats, the population doubled every 55 days. By the 19th month, the colony swelled to 2,200 mice. Yet, providing endless resources and eliminating physical danger did not yield a utopian society. Instead, it triggered a severe psychological crisis that destroyed the colony from the inside out. While physical resources like kibble and water remained abundant, usable space and privacy virtually disappeared. In the wild, alpha males established dominance by defending private territories. But with hundreds of mice crowding the narrow ramps and feeding troughs, defending an apartment became mathematically impossible. The biological hierarchy broke down. Subordinate males who lost territorial fights had no surrounding wilderness to retreat into. Unable to escape, these displaced dropouts pooled in the center of the enclosure. They gathered in massive, writhing hordes, engaging in vicious, unprovoked brawls that left them covered in severe scar tissue. By removing the ability to physically flee, the natural social order dissolved directly into chaotic, purposeless violence. This intense crowding triggered what researchers called social pathology, abnormal, destructive behaviors brought on by extreme stress. The effects first appeared among the females. With the alpha males too exhausted to defend the nesting boxes, rogue males constantly invaded the private apartments where mothers were nursing. The relentless intrusions overwhelmed the nursing mothers. They began attacking their own young, abandoning them mid-flight, or kicking them out of the nest prematurely. In severely crowded sections, infant mortality spiked to 96%. As the violence peaked, an entirely different demographic emerged in the colony, a group Calhoun labeled the beautiful ones. These mice completely withdrew from rodent society. They never fought, they never courted mates, and showed no interest in reproduction. They isolated themselves, spending their entire waking lives doing nothing but eating, sleeping, and obsessively grooming their fur. Calhoun diagnosed this collapse as a behavioral sink. It was a self-perpetuating cycle where the intense stress of crowding short-circuited normal biological functions, causing pathological behaviors to spread like a contagion. Eventually, all reproduction stopped. The aging population slowly died off, and by the spring of 1973, the population of Universe 25 fell to 0. The colony went entirely extinct without ever experiencing a shortage of food, water, or physical shelter. As these findings reached the public in the early 1970s, they collided directly with widespread cultural anxieties about rapid urban decay and the looming threat of the global population bomb. Sociologists and urban planners looked at towering, high-density concrete housing projects and concluded they were looking at literal human-sized behavioral sinks. Influential journalists like author Tom Wolfe immediately applied Calhoun's terminology to describe modern human cityscapes. Science fiction writers and pop culture commentators eagerly co-opted the study, warning that overcrowded inner cities would inevitably reduce human beings to violent, instinct-driven animals. Comic books explicitly cited the rat data, using the high-density violence to outline a bleak, dystopian future for humanity. The vocabulary of the experiment even bled into underground horror media, with comics literally billing themselves as tales from the behavioral sink, cementing Universe 25 as a confirmed urban myth. The public fully embraced the experiment as a definitive prophecy of human doom, entirely missing the actual point the scientist was trying to make. The panic relied on a flawed comparison. Humans are not mice. high population density does not automatically translate to the psychological stress of crowding. John B. Calhoun did not view himself as a doomsayer. He was an optimist, actively using his rodent models to find solutions for high-density living. He recognized that humans possess a unique biological asset he called conceptual space. Through culture, technology, and communication, humans can alleviate physical density by expanding their intellectual and social environments. For Calhoun, the colony's extinction was driven by the total loss of social utility. The overcrowding made it impossible for individual mice to perform the basic social roles, like nursing or territorial defense, required to sustain a community. The data from Universe 25 suggests that for social species, physical security is only one part of the equation. Stability relies on an environment that can accommodate the complex social structures a group needs to function.